and welcome back to my channel. This is the beautiful Cara from Polly Pocket Beauty. I will put her link down below. Today we're doing videos on each other's channel, so you're going to need to pop over there to see what we filmed. But today we're going to do something that's a little bit different because we've created our own tag video. This video is called the adult tag, which I know sounds a little bit unusual. It does sound like it's going to be rude, but it's not. It's kind of more about the struggles of being an adult and the things that people don't tell you. And
realisation ways that you get when you're an adult.
Because when you're like 18, 19, it's kind of, life's easy, you don't really have to deal with that much stuff.
That's when you think you're an adult.
And you like get annoyed at your parents because they don't treat you like you're an adult. But it's not until you're in your like mid-20s
mid-20s
that you realise that actually life sucks. Life is hard, and you have to like work hard to make your life easier. So we're in two completely different situations, so as we go through this I think you'll probably come to terms with like how our lives are different, but also we probably struggle from a lot of the same things. So let's get on with the tag. So the first question is, how old are you and where do you live? So I'm 24 and I'll be 25 in January, so we're not quite mid-20s, but we're on our way there. I certainly feel like it. And I live in my house with my boyfriend in Cambridge.
And I'm 24 as well, 25 in August, but I live at home with my mum, my stepdad and my brother. So we're kind of coming from different angles. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if we still think the same or if we feel differently.
I think
if I'm still in that little bubble of when I move out everything's going to be amazing.
Some harsh realities coming your way. So I moved into a place with my boyfriend back in September. We pretty much lived with each other for the previous years beforehand, and honestly there is absolutely nothing better than living in your own place. We rent our place, but there's definitely nothing better than living together. But at the same time there are some like harsh truths that people do not tell you before you move in together. Life is so different when you live at home and you've got your lovely parents looking after you. Like, I really think that this is something that you will realise when you move out, is that your parents are amazing. Like, genuinely, you don't appreciate it. And I mean, I think maybe you think you do at the time, but you actually really don't understand until you move out. I think we live in very different lives at the moment, the two of us, but I think we definitely probably do struggle from a lot of the same things.
Yeah, definitely.
So question number 2 is, where did you expect to be by this age? Which I know is quite like a deep question.
It is.
But I don't think I was expecting to be in the situation that I am at the moment. So I graduated from uni 3 years ago, and I kind of expected my life to just like take off, because people don't tell you that that's not reality, you know. People kind of make out as if that you're gonna just like finish uni, or you're just gonna finish whatever episode you're at in your life, like
get your dream job,
and you're just gonna get your dream job, and then everything's just gonna be like smooth sailing, and it's not. I live with my boyfriend. I have a job that I enjoy. I think I'd probably like to like learn and develop a little bit more in terms of like who I am and my skill set and stuff. But I do think that I am in a happy place, even if it wasn't where I was expecting to be. And I do kind of think that there's no point getting like completely obsessed with where you wanted to be when you were like 18, 19. Life happens for a reason. So I don't know. I think
unless you're in or wanting to go into a career that has like a set path, for like example like a doctor, you know you have to go to uni for 5 years, you know like you've got loads of training to do, you know you're not going to have that job until you're like 25 upwards. But I don't know, I'm really different to you because I didn't go to uni. We're like different a lot.
Yeah, we are.
But when
I was so well.
It does. When I was 17, 18, I had like a life plan. I knew I wanted to be, everything. Like, me and my boyfriend have been together since we were 17, so we were quite young when we got together. And so in my head I was like, right, we're 17, so what, we're going to be married at 23, I'm going to have my first child at 24.
Oh my God.
I know.
Can you imagine?
I know. And now I'm sat here, I'm like I still live at home. Like, we can't afford to move out. It's ridiculous.
That is the harsh reality of life, though, isn't it? Like, it isn't as simple as just sort of saying, well, I want to move out, so I'm going to move out. Like, it's all well and good, Johnny and I living together, but at the same time, that didn't come easily. We lived abroad and went travelling, and then we came back, and it was a good year of searching for a place to live, something that was convenient for both of us, like had everything that we needed, and that was not even us being picky. Like, that is the harsh reality of life now.
You kind of had to say you wanted it before you'd even seen it.
Yeah, I do think that reality versus like your expectations, they are very, very different.
Very different.
But I think the main thing to point out is that, like, obviously I don't know what kind of age group will watch videos like this, but at the same time I think the most important thing to realise is that, like, don't beat yourself up about it.
Oh god, yeah, definitely.
You know?
Like, you're not the only one that's still like living at home or is renting, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
so question 3 is kind of going on from what we've just been talking about, and that's, are you on track to where you want to be now? So obviously I've spoken about how I'd quite like to learn and develop and like continue on the pathway that I'm going on, but in terms of am I on track to where I'm going, I'd probably actually say no. I know it sounds crazy, but I actually would say that I'm not in the right frame of mind for where I like really want to be career wise, you know, because I think that one thing that I do realise a lot at the moment is that actually back in the day, our parents and grandparents, like at our age, they were married and they were settling down with children and stuff like that, and the expectation isn't like that now. And I don't think that people should beat themselves up so much about like having their life together. Like, you don't have your life together. Adult life is not easy. I know that sounds like a bit of an excuse,
but it's not.
It's the truth.
I know where I want to go, whereas some people don't have a clue. Like, they'll come out of uni, like I work with a girl and she has done a history degree, but she doesn't know where she wants to go now. And that's fine. Like, I've always said to her she needs to go and try different things. Like, even though you're 25, 24, and you're expected to like know what you want to do, like from your GCSEs you're expected to know what you want to do.
That's so much pressure.
And you're not going to know what you want to do. Like, my GCSEs, I don't even know what I wanted to be. So yeah, I honestly think you should just go out and trial things and not set your heart on one, unless you like your whole life you've been like, I want to do that. I think you should just go out and try different things in your life and have a bit of fun.
I totally agree. Like, I did a degree, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to do some of the stuff that I learn. I think that's okay.
Definitely.
So question 4 is, what piece of advice do you wish people told you when you were young? And I think it's actually quite an easy one. Because I really wish that people had told me when I was younger to not put so much pressure on myself. Because like I'm quite an anxious person. Like, you're quite an anxious person as well. I think that quite a lot of people of our age and older and younger, girls in particular, are quite anxious people now.
I think anxiety is a massive thing these days.
But I think it's because of the expectations that people put on you and the expectations that you're expected to have of yourself, you know. I think that when I was younger, I wish that people had sort of said to me, like, you'll get there. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly in the perfect pathway that you thought of, but you will get there.
I'm very, very similar to you, actually. I think the same thing as you, like, don't put the pressure on yourself to be like, I have to know what I want to do, I have to know where I'm going to be, like at this age I have to be there. Like, you don't at all. Like, if your life plans out that way, then great. Like, you're like 1 in a million that's happened to, because it just doesn't happen. So don't expect it.
Also, whether you achieve something a month after, 6 months after, 6 years after, but you still achieved the thing that you wanted to do. Like,
exactly.
That's an achievement in itself. And you should be like so proud of yourself. I don't know. I think that's kind of what I wish. I wish that was the piece of advice that somebody said to me when I was younger.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been quite lucky with my upbringing. I've never had pressure to do something. It's always been a case of, if there's something you want to do, then go for it. Not, you should be doing this, or you should have done this by now. So
that's lucky.
Yeah, I know.
Question number 5 is, what advice would you give to younger people now? So obviously, following on from what we've been talking about, I think that I would probably say to people nowadays, like, actually go out and live, because we were the generation that grew up with technology booming. And obviously technology is still booming so much now, and we wouldn't be on YouTube and we wouldn't have our blogs and everything if it wasn't for that. But at the same time, I am so aware, and I'm going to sound really old now, I am so aware of how much young people aren't going out and aren't doing stuff.
They're
living their lives
on their own,
in their rooms, on the internet. And I think to myself, like, I spent my childhood on a skateboard going down the hill, like in my village.
Climbing trees.
Yeah. And I know it sounds so ironic and it sounds so ridiculous because like adults say that about young people and we're generalised as young people. But at the same time, like, I see people walking down the street and they're like...
Yeah, in their own little world.
They're about 11.
I find it funny though because my mum and like grandparents used to say that about me and my brother. They'd be like, why are you sat inside? You should be outside.
Yeah.
When actually we were outside quite a lot, and if you think now...
Yeah, even less.
There isn't the children like running around the street. You don't sit in your house with your window open and hear them like playing in the streets. Exactly. Yeah. It's just completely different now.
I know that makes us sound like old fogies.
This whole video is
it's us like adult rant basically, but I do think that is the piece of advice that I would give to younger people, and I know that they'd probably roll their eyes and be like, well, why would I want to do that? Like, surely you want me to watch your video, you know? But at the same time, I think it is about balancing like your time, and I realise this now so much more about the benefits of being outside. I come home from work after sitting in my office non-stop for hours on end, like typing away, and all I want to do when I get home quite often is go out. I want to go out and be outside and go for a walk and like, you know, make the most of my time.
Yeah. For me, it's more money related. I was not organised when I was younger with my money at all. It was like fritter it away, and now I'm suffering for that. That's half the reason why I haven't moved out. It's just because it's so expensive. So I would say, like, save your money.
Yeah.
Don't fritter it away
but
on
I guess
things.
That's not just like, you know, birthday and Christmas money. Obviously you get that stuff like to have fun and that's a special treat. But like, you know, if you are in a situation where you have a job and you maybe want to achieve something in the future, but you just kind of think, well, this money's just for now kind of thing. Like, actually, the job market is hard out there, and having a little bit extra is not a problem.
No, definitely not.
So question number 6 is, do you still suffer from FOMO? So if you don't know what FOMO is, it is fear of missing out. And this is a big thing that when I was especially at uni and college, I really suffered from. And I think it's this whole thing of everyone else is doing it, so I've got to get involved. I totally do not suffer from FOMO anymore. I do not suffer from it at all. If there is something that people are doing and they are shouting and screaming about it, if I want to do it, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I don't have a fear of missing out anymore because I think to myself, like, it's not the end of the world. Just do it if you want to do it. Don't do it if you don't want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, don't let anyone make you feel bad about it.
Yeah, so many times I would be like, oh, I have to do that, otherwise like they're not going to like me. And I would be in a situation I really wasn't comfortable with. That sounds really weird, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'd be in a situation I didn't want to be in, or something that I wasn't enjoying.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't want to miss out on it, and I didn't want them like to go back to college the next day and then everyone be talking about it and me be like...
I think that's the big thing though that's associated with FOMO, is that if you're not there and people want to say comments about it, A, don't hang out with them.
Yeah.
and I think it's a lot easier to say when you're older than it is to understand when you're younger.
Definitely.
Also B, like, they'll get over it at the same time. Like, this time next week, it'll be something else. Yeah. Somebody else will be talking about it, or like, about something different, you know? It really doesn't matter that much. So you might have FOMO now, but don't worry about it, because maybe we're just boring.
Yeah.
But it will end. Honestly, it will end.
Yeah, definitely.
So question number 7 is relevant to both of our different situations. So the question is, what is your opinion on living at home or moving out in your 20s? I think I can quite easily comment on this because I only moved out in September, so it's really not that long ago. We've been here for just about 7 months or so, and I think that I struggled living at home, but at the same time I needed that. I really needed that time living at home to appreciate what I have now, but also appreciate the situation I had then, you know? I think that I am a big believer of everything happens for a reason, and I do think that as much as it was a struggle because we really desperately wanted to move out, at the same time I have such a closer bond with my mum now because I spent all that time with her, and I had to do that growing up and have her as my support system, and I just kind of think that there is actually no shame in living at home. I know that people joke about it and they say, oh, like, why are you still living at home kind of thing, but at the same time I guarantee your parents wouldn't really have it any other way. Really, like, they love having you around, and they're gonna, like, their babies are gonna fly the nest one day, and they don't really want that like straight away. They're okay with it being a slow process.
Yeah. So what would you say your pro was to moving out?
pro to moving out is like freedom and flexibility and like having my own space. I think like I'm quite a creative person, and I've really like put my spin on this place that we live in. But I think that the cons of moving out are probably having to like face reality about tax and bills and car insurance and all of that stuff, you know, the stuff that you probably don't think enough about the fact that your parents are just paying that behind the scenes.
I feel like that should be taught at school as well.
Absolutely.
How to be an adult.
Right? Government, here's a thing for you. Teach children and teach young people about how to cope with adult life. It's so much more valuable than half the rest of the stuff that they teach them.
It's like, I know algebra, but I don't know how to get a mortgage. Do you know what I mean? It's
That's
like,
quite
I've never used algebra since I've left school.
No, never.
But I haven't got a clue how I'd get a mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the cons of living at home are probably you feel like you're at a stage in your life where you want to develop and you want to move on, and I guess you probably feel quite held back.
Yeah, for me it's more like at the minute it's a bit of like a trap, like I'm trapped at home.
It's an in-between stage.
Yeah. Where like I think every person goes through a stage where they think they're ready to move out.
Yeah.
But if it was to happen, it would be
Panic.
a massive shock.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm like, I need to move out.
I'm ready.
This is now, I have to.
Question number 8 is, if you could change something in your adult life right now, then what would it be? I think if I put my like adult hat on here, then I'd probably say like, obviously money. I don't believe that money makes you happy. I do believe that money makes life a little bit easier though. And you have the ability to have a happier life if you're not worrying. It's not actually physically having the money that makes you happier. It's
not
taking the pressure off.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make you happy, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, you know. But if I put the hat on in the sense of like just well-being and everything, then I don't know. I think I'd probably change actually like how busy I am sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
more free time.
I'm a really busy person, and my colleagues always take the mickey out of me because they say like, but you choose to be busy, that is your free time. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but downtime, like actual downtime is quite rare for me.
Because all of your, even though you're doing stuff in your spare time, like in your downtime, because it's not in your like main full-time job, it's still, you're still working towards something. It's still something that you want to do. And that's how, I don't know. So to you, that's not your free time. That's like working on something completely different.
Whether it's working on a relationship, working on a friendship, working on your own personal development, or like your well-being and fitness or something, that is still stuff that you need to do to get to that sort of, I know it sounds like really like cringy, but like self-fulfillment, you know, like you need to get through some stages to be able to feel like you're fulfilling your life, you know.
Exactly.
But I imagine that people that are older than us, they're probably just going to be like,
what are they talking
shut
about?
up. Wait till you've got a walking stick. Like, you've got no worries right now. You know? Following on from that point goes to question number 9, which is, have you had any sudden realizations about life, relationships, friendships since hitting your 20s? I feel like I have had such like an epiphany, like it's really stupid. Since I've hit my 20s, and like especially now, closer like 23, 24, and probably I'll feel the same next year as well. I've definitely realised if you don't want to do something, don't do it. Just don't do it.
Definitely.
Like, obviously not, you know, don't turn up to work or like don't do your exams and stuff. But for me, I realised so much, like I spent so many years, especially at college and at uni, doing stuff and spending time with people that I didn't want to spend time with, you know? Like, it is not the end of the world if you're not friends with the same person that you were friends with when you were 9, when you're 24. It doesn't matter. As long as you weren't a horrible person, as long as you didn't purposefully create an awkward or awful situation, like you weren't a horrible person, then it doesn't matter. I'm not friends with half the people that I knew when I was younger, but you know what? I've made new friends. It's not like I've just dropped old people.
When you're like in your friendship group in your primary school and you're like, we're going to be friends forever, and you're like, pinky promise. It's not going to happen, babes, I'm really sorry.
Harsh reality.
It's not.
Harsh truth there.
You might carry like 1 or 2 with you, but it's probably not going to happen.
But everything happens for a reason, and like, I don't know, I feel like the people that I am friends with that I knew when I was younger, I'm friends with because we had a mutual understanding that that's what we both wanted. Friendship and relationships as well, and life in general should not be a one-way thing. Everything like that should be reciprocal. It should be like, today we planned this because we both wanted to do this. Don't go out of your way to do stuff with people or go places that you don't want to do, or, you know, it just doesn't really matter. I think that is probably the sudden realisation that I've had, is the fact that actually you are, like, the most important thing is you, yourself and I, and you've got to make everything else work around you.
Be selfish about it.
Every so often. I mean, obviously don't be an idiot, but like, you know, but be selfish every so often, because actually at the end of the day, if you're not happy, then how do you expect other people around you to be happy?
I'm really big on that.
I'm really so big on that. Like, especially in relationships, if you're not confident in yourself, or you don't have faith in yourself, then how do you expect somebody else to?
Exactly.
Or if you don't love yourself, whether that's in a relationship or that's anything, like in friendships or anything, if you don't love yourself, or have at least elements of loving yourself, then how do you expect somebody else to? I don't know. That's quite deep.
That was deep.
That's deep.
That was really deep.
YouTube time. Deep moments here. So the final question is, do you feel like an adult?
God, no. But I feel like it's because I live at home still.
No, don't, because I don't feel like an adult. I feel like I am a part-time adult.
A part-time.
Genuinely, I feel like I'm a part-time adult, because I think that when you go through life, you think that different age groups, like different age points in your life, you're going to feel so different. Like, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be like, oh my god, I'm an adult kind of thing. I don't feel like that. I feel like it's not going to be until I have some serious responsibilities, like a child, that I am going to feel like a real adult, because I can be selfish at the moment. I can be. And I get that when parents have, like, when they have children and stuff, you still have to be a little bit selfish from time to time to make yourself happy. But at the end of the day, you've got this beautiful bundle of joy that you've got to care for. Like, most I have to care about is, like, just making sure I don't get kicked out of my house kind of thing. Like,
paying your bills.
Paying my bills. And at the end of the day, there is still leeway with stuff like that. And you just have to kind of get your head in gear. I think that if you can be childish every so often, it isn't the end of the world. Like, and that's why I don't feel like a full-time adult, you know? It's like a job, I don't feel like a full-time adult.
So when you're in your 20s and still living at home, you do have that gap where when you leave the house, you're the mature adult, and you go back in because you know it's there. You'll go back into your child.
But I don't think it's necessarily like that. If you live at home, you take things for granted or anything.
Oh God, no.
Because, like, of course you're appreciative if that's the case. But, like, you know, so often I'm on my way home and I go, oh, got no food in the house, like, and then you've got to then be the responsible person and go out and get it, you know, and it's like, oh, that's so annoying.
Whereas I don't have to have those adult thoughts.
That sounds wrong.
That really does.
Adult thoughts.
Adult thoughts.
So anyway, end on that note. So this is basically our brief chat about adult life and the comparisons between sort of like early times where you think you're an adult and then when you now get to this stage and you've actually got to be an adult. Maybe we'll film this again in about 10 years time and we'll be like, oh my god, we're actually adults.
Like, we just listen back and we're like, oh my god.
life stress back then was so good. So anyway, this has been the adult tag. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to do the tag video as well, then I'll leave all the questions below and you can check it out and do it yourself. If you do, then please tweet me on my Twitter down below. This has been a great time today. We've been chilling out and filming.
A really good day.
So please check out Cara's channel. I'll put her link down below and I will see you in my next video. Give this a big thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.